side bending mobilization, okay? Using finger block, okay, using finger block. What we're going to attempt to do is, the indications are, we may use this for a patient who has a segmental loss of side bending, so we're trying to improve side bending, or we could just be thinking about using it for a facet joint that we want to open up. Right? We want to open up a particular side. So it may not be that there's a loss of side bending. Ben, for example, may have a restriction on the left side at L1, L2, okay, L1, L2 on the left side, and I may want a technique that specifically targets that L1, L2. So I'm choosing side bending, but it may not be that he has a loss of side bending necessarily. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's not like the side bending technique comes with a loss of side bending. This technique is good for opening up one side of the facet joint. Okay? We're going to use a finger block, which is our first attempt to begin to localize forces. Okay? Now, as I'm assessing this, I'm looking at motions intersegmentally, and what I'm doing with the finger block is I'm attempting to, although not ideally, I'm attempting to localize the force to the segment that I'm contacting. So with Ben, if L1, L2 is the segment that I'm trying to work, and it's on the left side, and I want to open up L1, L2, I'm going to place my third finger here, my third digit. Instead of assessing motion now, I'm going to place this digit alongside the spinous process. So here's L1 spinous process sticking up, right? I'm going to try to place my finger alongside of it, right? And I'm going to create a fulcruming around that L1, L2 segment. So I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to try to work through that muscle as best I can, and I'm going to try to contact the side of that spinous process, on the side I'm standing. Okay? That's my finger block. What I'm going to then simply do is hold that in place. This finger block, key point here, is not mobilizing. I'm not pushing with this finger. The only thing I'm doing is maintaining contact. I'm just holding on to L1. As I'm holding on to L1, I'm going to create a fulcrum by moving him into side bending. So, you know, we kind of did all this, and the reason for that is not only to assess, but now I'm going to use it as a treatment technique. So I can see that I'm creating side bending here. Remember, that leg is part of your body. Remember, I'm not extending him, but I'm moving him across the table in that frontal plane, and I'm creating side bending. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this finger on the side, my side, on the right side here of L1, and I'm going to basically move him into side bending while blocking. So I'm creating motion through his hip, L4, 5, 3, 4, 2, 1, 1, 2. That's the segment I'm trying to mobilize. And I'm moving L2 and the lower segments on a fixated L1. You guys with me? So I'm not letting L1. If I let go, L1 would go along for the ride. But I'm holding L1 and I'm moving those lower segments so that I'm localizing my force at L1, L2. Okay? I'm oscillating. Maybe I go to end range and hold. Maybe I begin to feel the motion, but I stop there. But in all of these instances, my right hand is not doing anything. The only thing my right hand is doing is blocking. Right? So as I'm oscillating, I'm creating a fulcrum around that finger so that I'm opening up the left side. Okay?